All right. Hello again. This is Bob Turner with the Summit Podcast. I've got a great guest on today. My friend Justin Cady is here to join us. I've known Justin for several years now through a couple of different coaching communities and on the contracting side. And when I started reaching out to get entrepreneurs that I think do cool things on my podcast, I reached out to Justin and said, "Hey man, let's have a conversation." So Justin, thanks for joining me on the Summit Podcast, man.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I
Yeah.
appreciate the invite. And I don't think there's a time that we have had a conversation and haven't had a lot of fun around it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Usually we have a good time together. Hey, for those of you that don't know you, those people that might be listening that don't know you, let us know, who you are, what you do, what's going on.
For sure. So first and foremost, I'm a husband and a father. Married my high school sweetheart. Not too many people get to say that they married the same person that they started dating when they were 17 years old. So we've been together, I think 23, 24 years, 25 years,
That's
somewhere
great.
around there.
Cool.
I think it's 22 years, but we've got two kids, an 11-year-old. My son, he's 11, he's the oldest, and then got a daughter that's 8. She actually just started wrestling, had a curiosity about it,
No kidding.
and turns out we unleashed a little beast in there.
You got a wrestler on your hands. That's good.
So, I enjoy most things outdoors. As you know, within the last couple of years, started doing some mountain biking, some races there. Went from not doing a whole lot of anything to doing events upwards of 60-mile
Nice.
events. So it's a lot of fun this year. I'm going to be pushing myself a little bit further in that. Ran business up until about this last couple of months for 10 years doing concrete coatings and repair work. Did some really fun high-end residential stuff, and then got into some really complicated commercial projects as well. And that's been a blast, and just had a recent change going through a few things that we've chatted about there that we'll probably dive into at some point. But going from business owner to employee has been a real interesting transition.
Yeah, and I've done that in a way a couple of times, and it's an adjustment, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Well, what? So you had it was Paveman, right? Paveman.
Yep.
Coatings.
The website's still up.
Yep. Yeah. So, so I talk with a lot of business owners on here, and very few, I think 99%, don't make it past 10 years. And so here you are about 10 years in, and you ran into some trouble. And so I know you well enough to know you're hitting it head on the best you can. But if you don't mind sharing, and we talked about this before because it may help someone else. What happened? What's going on?
Yeah, so there's a few different things that went into why we decided to close down the business, but ultimately I started the bit. I'm going to kind of step back in time. I started the business back in 16.
Okay.
Come from the automotive world, realized that wasn't the place for me. I didn't see the growth potential in it, and tried a few part-time jobs just to keep money rolling in until I figured out what I wanted to do when I grew up.
Yeah.
And then I got was introduced to the coatings industry. I worked for a different company for 2 years as an employee, and realized that there was a gap in the industry. So I started my own business. I'll fast forward about 2-3 years, owner operator, had a couple of guys working for me, and I've always been a big ideas guy, and, really seen the potential within the industry as well as our own business and what was out there. So we started to look into, all right, what does this look like to grow, to scale, to build it up? And it was fight after fight with that. Some of it was my own management. Not necessarily knowing how to manage people. I knew what I didn't want to do, but in some cases I ended up turning into the manager that I didn't want to be.
Right.
And some of that was the financial side, not understanding that, or being fed poor advice from other contractors,
Yeah.
You and I went through the same coaching program for a while, and 50% gross margins were nowhere to be heard of. I was being told, hey, you should be able to make it pretty solidly with a 20% markup.
Wow. Just a 16% margin. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the financial advice that I was fed for about the first three to 5 years of my business,
Yeah.
until I got sick of it. It was like, all right, something
It's got to
has
be a
to
better
change
way.
here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we got into the contractor fight. Things started going well. Got a couple of good, or what I thought were some good employees in place, and implemented Profit First. If
Yep.
you're familiar with that program.
Sure. Yep.
Change things around. Within 1 year, we went from basically we were doing about 300,000, 400,000 in revenue, making, at the end of the year, bank account only showed about 12 grand in it.
Yeah.
To the following year, we ended up doing less in revenue. We ended up doing, I think it was 348, but we had banked 100 grand.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What happened? Where did it start to go off the tracks?
So where it started to go off the tracks is at that time, that transition period, learning to be a better manager myself. I had actually lost a key, my lead, my key installer in the field, the guy who was really holding everything together.
Yep.
Right around that time. And I had a manager in place that was helping me out. And a few years later, we realized that she had really done a good job of siloing people and not allowing them to expand in their areas, or, a lot of behind the back stuff that we didn't know about until we got rid of her. But essentially what happened was we had done this really good year. We had about 100 grand. This was right around COVID, and the government was giving out free money at this point.
Right.
We had a growth potential. I had a couple of new people in place. I had a salesperson. So we were running this as, hey, we've got some money in the bank. I'm gonna build a solid team around this.
Right.
So we brought people in, brought in a sales guy. We're heading into the commercial industry, which is a little bit different than residential.
Oh yeah.
We were pushing really heavily into there. So we took this SBA loan, big SBA loan. I think that was right around 400,000. We had 120 of our own, and we're going to get a shop. We're going to put this into people. So the next 2 years, we put it into a good, solid foundation. Well, turns out the foundation wasn't as solid as what we thought it was.
Okay.
One summer specifically, we moved from the building that we were in into another office, bigger offices. At this point, we had our own in-house marketing director he was doing a really good job. We were getting leads in at around upwards of 80 leads a month doing what we were doing, and we just couldn't finish on them. We brought in a sales guy and
couldn't close them.
Couldn't close them. To the point of within 3 months. Now, at this point, I was back in the field again, helping team out, build our team there.
Yep.
I had 3-4 guys in the field. I was teaching them. They were all within our industry within a couple of months. And, this was over a year. We had gone through a lot of people in the field because it's hard work. Late nights, long hours. So to find people who are willing to do that, especially in the commercial world, it's tough. On the flooring side, we're the last ones in. So all the budget on these projects are wasted, and all the timeline is down to us.
And then hurry up and get done because we're behind schedule. Right?
Yep. You're supposed to be here 2 weeks ago. We weren't ready for you, but why aren't you done yet?
You got 2 days to get 2 weeks worth of work done. Yeah, I hear you.
So, but we look at everything and we built it up. The sales guy that we had, who's seasoned, 10 years in not our industry, but been in the sales position for 10, 15 years, think, all right, we got to shoe in, teach him a few things. And we're just giving him some nice, easy residential stuff. Turns out he wasn't performing. He wasn't closing. After we changed his pay structure, put him heavier commission.
Yeah.
On the salary side, he put in his 2 weeks. He left. And going through his emails, we found that he was literally talking people out of work.
Wow.
He was that scared of making a close, is very interesting.
Yeah, scary. So you had the SBA loan, plus you had some internal stuff with people. And do you feel like you just kind of started chasing it, like you got out over your skis?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I tried to grow a little bit too fast in
Okay.
some areas, and when there were there were some people there. So the manager that I talked about, great lady, but we outgrew where we could be with her role.
Yeah.
And I think the personality wasn't a great fit for the goals that we were trying to hit.
Right.
And held on to her probably about a year and a half longer than I should have,
Yep.
hoping that things would change or that, magically it'd pick up. And part of that
Right.
was I was afraid to take on the responsibilities of what she was already doing with training people in the field, trying
Sure.
to train
Yeah.
salespeople,
Yeah.
taking care of the marketing, and I would say at the end of it, it came down to letting go. That fear of letting go and letting those balls drop.
Mm.
Instead, I was the bottleneck. I was
Yeah.
holding everything back.
Yeah. I mean, how are you? I mean, I'm going through something like that. I mean, basically, closing up shop, right?
Yep.
And probably some people aren't getting paid.
It was tough. So
Yeah.
what we ended up doing was for the last 2 years. Now, this is about 2 years ago. So the last 2 years, we cut everybody out.
Mhm.
I went back in the field, and we got to a point where we have all this debt, all these loans, and luckily up until this point, we've been able to keep everything just paid, maybe
good.
30, 60 days late on a couple of things, but
Better than never, right?
at that point, the thing that I was, extremely proud of is we did do a lot, so we weren't doing everything wrong.
Yeah.
The customers that we were getting were probably some of the best customers that any company would wish for.
Yeah.
They didn't argue on price.
Yep.
We provided a really good service, so we weren't lacking on that side of things.
Right.
The customers were phenomenal. They were giving us referrals. They didn't fight us on anything. Everybody marks out their ideal customer. We had
Yeah. Listen to
our profit margins were through the roof, but the debt got so high, even though we were doing, average 50, 60% gross margins, we were barely breaking even with all the debt that we accrued to try to build this thing up. Because we had built everything to do about $1.5 million, $2 million a year.
Yeah. What is she feeling? Did she get too heavy on the overhead side?
We got too heavy on the overhead. Overhead got too heavy, got a little out of control. It happens fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Not having a pulse on the numbers doesn't help, right? If you're like, okay, I can add this, I can add that. I think we're going to be good. We got a bunch of contracts, and that was I've seen a lot of that where people are like, well, I think everything's going to be fine. It's $100,000 in the checking account, and I can buy the truck, and I can do this, and I can do that. But when it comes down to it, you don't have a rainy day fund. Your cash that you do have is sometimes other people's, right?
Yep. Tied up.
And you don't have 3 to 6 months of expenses kind of teed up. So once that snowball starts rolling down the hill, it starts to gain a little steam, right? And it gets to a point. There's a tipping point there, right, where you're like, okay, I can continue to do this, but I'm still going backwards. What was the tipping point for you? Like, where, if you don't mind sharing, like, where did you say enough? Enough's enough.
It was about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to put one last year into this. We
Yep.
were able to go from losing about $80,000 a year, and I was able to slow that snowball within a year and a half, or
Yep.
just under a year, down to about breaking even.
Wow. Okay.
So we cut a lot. When I say we cut
Yeah.
a lot, we cut a lot. I'm sitting in my garage right now at
Yeah.
home working out of this, and we sold vehicles, we sold some equipment. I went to working back in the field almost full time. We tried to submodel, but where it came to the point of, for me, with heavily within the last 6 months, is for me to get back to where I need to be. And throughout all this, like, I've missing time with my family, missing time
Sure.
with kids.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, my kids are young, and
Trying to make it go. Yeah.
I've already missed, a turning point for me was when I joined the contractor fight and started looking at my life and realized that I missed the first 5 years of my daughter's life.
Wow.
That was tough.
Yeah.
Still is.
Yeah.
And it's like, I could make this work again. I've shown that I've been able to stop the snowball, but we're still, I did 450,000 this year and we're broke even. And
That's the
that's with
tough
just
thing.
me operating.
Yeah.
So
When you're under that mountain of debt, you're like, okay, I'll pay it off. The facts are that you not only weren't able to be profitable for whatever reason, but then you get to break even and you're like, that doesn't allow for any money to service the debt. Like we need like an extra 100. We need an extra 150 or 2 this year, which would mean that you're doing extremely well if you've got that kind of dough to throw at the debt. Something changed, something restructured. We're on our way. You know, I talked with a guy the other day he was like 650 in and but he's throwing a couple hundred at it per year and you know, can see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? It doesn't sound like for you that there was that we couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
no, and it got to a point where everything that we had was going back into it, every penny,
Yeah.
you know, and we were doing good. Like I was closing
Yeah.
on $60,000-$70,000 projects,
Jesus.
but all it was doing was end at a 50% margin, you know, and I was
Yeah.
in the field and we were producing at 45 to 60 on some of these projects, but it
Wow.
just still wasn't enough.
Yeah.
I got to the point where I realized that, okay, being a single owner operator, there's only so much I can do. The submodel is great, but I still have to pay those guys.
You do, yeah.
It got to the point where we had to be at about 800,000, 700,000 to 800,000 to do that, which I could sell that.
Yeah.
But the producing it, and it just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
I figured, you know, we're at a point where I'm going to have to put in 5 years of really, really hard work, miss out on my kids' lives at that point. My son is about graduated.
And maybe still not turn it around.
And maybe if we're lucky.
Yeah.
The direction that we're headed, you know, and this is the hard part, is we're getting through our slow season now, and within the last week, I've got customers that have been mine for 5 years calling me back. I've got, you know, and to turn all that down is tough.
Yeah.
But I got the opportunity, and this is where things change, is I got the opportunity. A friend of mine in the industry, he owns a manufacturing and distribution company of coatings. I've been his customer for 6 years. We've known each other for 14. I came on part-time to kind of get some personal money in to help out with that. And I saw that, hey, there's an opportunity here. I decided to go on full-time.
Wow. Okay.
So from part-time to full-time, after realizing that, hey, this is going to be tough. We're in the process right now of going through the bankruptcy side, which isn't fun, but I've been able to talk to a few business owners through it, and it's not as scary as what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of the decisions that I made in the past, is I should have done this 6 months ago.
Well, I've talked to some very successful people that have gone through it, but I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Let me ask you this: with the benefit of hindsight, right? Like if somebody's listening to this, going, "Man, I'm glad that's not me," right? I'm glad I'm not going through this. I think there's some real value in this conversation. First of all, I appreciate you being willing to have it. Usually, you know, I'm bringing people on and talking about doing this and scaling and doing this, and you're talking about like, here's what went wrong, and there's a lot of value here. Well, if you had, I got a whole bunch of questions. If you had it to do all over again, if you were restarting today, same business, right? Are there some things that stand out to you that you would do differently? And what are they?
I would. There's definitely a lot, but I would say the key one is, you know, we talk a lot in the business about scaling and delegating and getting out of the field. But I think there needs to be a little bit more emphasis on time and how long that takes, and making sure that as you're doing that, you're not only, you know, losing control of everything. Because when you can delegate, sometimes you hand something off and you expect that person to run with it like you would. Or, hey, I've just delegated that. Now I don't have to worry about it. Well, that's not necessarily the case. And for me, scaling, I got excited. I saw these numbers. I saw what this business could be. And we try to do it too fast rather than slowing down, focusing, getting really, really good at the one thing. And
Yeah.
and personally, I wish I would have searched out some coaching for myself. There's a lot of
Hmm.
personal growth that I needed to do earlier on
Yeah.
that really held me back. So if I was going to do this again, I'd say simple, easy processes.
Yeah. Would you do the same industry, the same business, or would you pick something different?
You know what? I would. I
Okay.
would. I would probably look at it in a little different way.
Hmm.
Some of the stuff that I've learned over the last couple of years is, different types of business models.
Right.
We talk about there's the lifestyle model where
Yeah.
you're running the business as an owner operator, but I know guys in our industry who are done at 2:30, 3 o'clock every day.
Yeah.
They're home to their families. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of it's a very lucrative business
Hmm.
in a way. There's a lot of profitability there, but it's within keeping it simple and keeping in your lane.
Right. You feel like maybe you if you'd stayed maybe in your lane a little bit more, maybe not hit the commercial stuff, wouldn't have. It's funny you mentioned the growth and the scaling, right? And I've seen that too. It's nobody's fault but our own if we get caught up in that. But the just the natural tendency of being in business is like, oh, we did 500,000 last year. What's the goal for this year? Maybe it's 500,000. Maybe it's a better net profit. Maybe it's 450 with 3 times the net, right? But we get caught up in it. We do more. We got to scale. We got to grow. We got to add people. We got to get out of the field. You got to get out of the field. Why? You might like. I know a couple of people that I coach love the field, and we're talking about adding a business manager because they love the field, right? And the value that they have in the field. And I suspect that that was the case for you. Like the value you brought to the field was off the charts.
It was fun. I loved
And
it.
yeah. And so when you come out of the field, this is what they say. They say you go in the office and do the quotes and do the sales and, you know, and then you're not doing, number one, you're not doing the thing that you love. Number two, we're not using you the best in the best role for the business, right? And we're probably going too fast. And all of a sudden, it's like you're going down the road and the steering wheel's shaking and you just got to let go. And so, first of all, I have a lot of respect for you for number one, being able to come on and talk about it, but also just hitting it head on and realizing that, hey, nobody died. Okay.
No,
I mean, sometimes like you go through this thing and you're like, oh, I feel like a piece of crap, or I'm a loser because I failed at business. But most people that are successful, I know I've closed at least one, maybe two businesses. Most people that are successful have failed, or closed a business or two, or even gone through the bankruptcy, right? You and I both know successful people who went through it. And so this is by no means something that has to define you, right?
no.
Who cares?
It's not something that's happening at this point. It's not something that I'm seeing that's even happening to me. I look at it as a learning curve. I look at
Good
it
perspective, man. Yeah.
as something that I can use to teach other people, because
That's it right there. Think of what you're bringing, like everything you've been through. Now you're going to be in this new position dealing with all kinds of Justins. Like, look at the value you can bring and how many people you can help in your new role. That's exciting.
it is exciting because that's what I get to do at this point is I get to be a support or coach. That's
Sure.
that's my focus in this. I get
Yeah.
to help people start new businesses or take their businesses and use everything that I've learned, positive and negative.
Mm-hmm.
If I see somebody going down the same path that I did or making those decisions, it's like, hey, I'm not afraid to be that person to tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, we gotta slow down and really take a look at this.
That's awesome.
One of the big things that I've learned with all of this, even my journey over the last 5 years, is the profitability side. I focus on more of the net side of the business of what you can bring home, what you can do for your employees, your family, all of that. And I want to be able to pass that on. And as much as this journey sometimes sucks, we learn a lot of
Excuse me.
cool things from it. And
Yeah.
one of the things I was talking to my wife about because she came on the last 2 years to see, and she didn't really know where we were at.
Yeah. It had to be a tough time.
Yeah, so it was, but one of the things that we talked about is throughout this, let's say I would have stayed being a mechanic for the last 10 years, would I have actually put myself on a personal journey or a personal path to become the person that I am today? If this would have happened 5 years ago, I'd have been pulling what's left of my hair out. I'd have been a mess, throwing shit at the wall. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not the same person and forced to become a better person, not only for myself, but for my kids
Yeah.
and my wife.
And you're looking at it as, I think you may have said this or alluded to, it's happening for you, not to you, right? And it's something that you get to do, not have to do. And now you're looking at this new role. So look at all the things that you're bringing to it. So tell me, let's brighten up the room here a little bit. Tell me about the new role. What's going on? What are you doing?
So this is actually really cool. It's a smaller coatings company within the coatings world. I'm going to just say epoxy. In the epoxy world, that's where people know.
Yep.
And we specialize, so Valence Protective Coatings is the company that I now work for. Based out of Minnesota here. If you talk about the polyurea world, that's going to be a big one, especially in the garage floor. The flake world all came from the truck bed liner side. Well, yeah, the owner of Valence that I'm talking to, he's been in this industry since 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on the front lines of this when the company that he had worked for said, hey, we're going to develop this new system. So he's been in through all of it, has seen it. So it's really exciting to work for a fairly young, they've been around for about 5-6 years. They started right before COVID.
Yep.
Would hit, and
They made it.
Struggling too. They made it too. So, but what I get to do is I get to, my role is the business success and technical manager. I got to name it myself. So if you have something better, let me know and I'll put it on the card. Essentially,
it's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is. But essentially what my role here is I get to support other coatings businesses with technical issues as they arise and come up. I get to pre-plan jobs with them. I get to connect them with their project to solutions. And then the bigger thing that I'm more excited about, because I get to help, I've always been a big fan of helping other people and helping them grow and expand, is I get to take people who are interested in this industry and help coach them up. So I help them start businesses, and that's what we do differently. The industry is big on training. Like, I'm going to show you how to do these fancy metallic floors, these fancy marble floors. I'm going to show you how to do a flake system here, buy our materials.
Yeah. I like it.
But there's very few people out there, or very few companies out there, that are focusing on, you're starting a business. This is real. This is legitimate. So we're going to set you up with tools, with processes, with procedures. And one of the things that I'm doing is I'm taking everything that I've built out of Paveman these last 10 years, all the systems, all the processes, all the job roles, everything, and I'm packaging it up and giving it to Valence of, hey, here's all the information. Give yourself a leg up, taking all the financial education that we've learned over the years on 50% profit margins. I had Excel tools that I built out for job costing.
Nice.
I'm giving all that stuff away.
That's cool.
So I get to help people start businesses, and the young guys that are coming into this industry we're going to see some powerful people here, some really educated, powerful people come through this industry, and I'm excited.
Well, you're using your experience and lessons, expensive lessons, for the betterment of the industry, right? And that's commendable. That's really cool. It's good that you're doing that.
Thank you.
Do you ever see yourself going back to business, or do you think this is going to be your landing place?
So,
wait, is your boss listening?
Maybe. He probably will. I'll share this with him. But he knows it. I've joked with him, as I said, my goal is to have equity into this business.
There you go.
Entrepreneur at heart. I said, whether it's this business or something else, I will have another business.
Yeah.
My wife and I already have a second business. We have a camper rental business. That's
right. Yeah. It's cool.
We might not have time to dive into all that, but
I mean, speaking of your wife, how is she doing with all this? This is a lot to go through when, you're supporting a partner through it.
She has been phenomenal. She's got her times that,
Hmm.
she's, there's some stuff that we're working through.
Yeah.
When I started this business, I was young and gung ho and didn't quite start it correctly with having all those conversations. I'm an ideas guy.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
anything that came in, I shared with her.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? Starting a car? Are you going to restore motorcycles? Are you going to start an automotive shop? You're doing this coatings
Right.
thing. And next thing you know, I came home with a $35,000 line of credit from my bank, and here,
Yeah.
here I'm going. So we got some stuff to work through there.
Yeah.
Within this, I think the bigger change was when we had our conversation with the lawyers and realized that our stuff at home is protected.
Yeah.
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 We've lived fairly modestly over the
Hmm.
years, no matter how well the business did at points. I never really took out more than what I needed to pay myself. I always put back into my
Sure.
people, back into the business. We're blissfully broke, as I like to
Yeah.
say it. We have enough money to get by and we're comfortable. Like we're taking our kids to Disney World,
Hmm.
but we don't have enough for taken.
Yeah.
So
Right. So you're insulated. You're going to be okay. You're going to eat next week, and that's the important stuff, right? And you got each other, and this is just a stop on the way, right? This is just you look back at this, and I know it's probably hard to think of it, but you're going to look back on it and go, wow, we got through that. And it didn't kill us, and we're still together, and the kids are okay, and it's just business. Like you're guilty of,
it is.
what are you guilty of? Well, making some uninformed choices, right? And you're also guilty of working your ass off to make it go, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you weren't sitting on the couch hoping this thing went. You got some stuff coming up, so do I. So I want to, as we move toward the end here, you've heard of the book.
I've read the book.
Yeah. So you'll be ready for this next question. I always ask people, and in the book, I say, finding your edge. Like your edge. People say, what's your edge? Well, it's where you go when the shit hits the fan, right? It's how you show up differently than others. And it's what you feel you bring to the table that others don't. Okay? So you know what I'm going to ask is what is your edge?
As much as I tried to prepare for it, I'm not prepared for that question.
That's intentional.
For me, it's a perseverance. I
Yeah, I was
will
going to
push
say.
through about anything. I try to find an angle, a different way of looking at things. I've always been, I shouldn't say always, but I've learned to take a step back and look at the whole picture of what options do we have, what can we use to move forward, and let's go for it. There's no time to sit around and mope, and we might feel like crap, but you still have to get up and do it. And it's interesting coming from a person who fights schedules and consistency in my own personal life. That's one thing that I've always consistently come back and like, all right, what's the next thing that we need to do? And I would say through all of this, you mentioned family, my wife, even though the business wasn't doing great, we grew as a family, we grew as a couple. Our family life is probably sitting better than it ever has,
That's great.
even going through this. And that's been probably big and supportive. But I guess to shorten that answer, I think the perseverance. That's what.
Yeah. If you'd asked me to say what yours was, I was headed for resilience. And, you've been through a lot, man, and you're going to go through a lot. This is not something that you just get through in a couple of months and it's behind you. It's going to, it's going to be, kick the ball and drag this thing for a while, but you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. And that's cool. So one last question. I didn't prepare you for this one either. I always ask this question to people. I think I stole it from somebody like Lewis Howes or somebody, but I liked it. And, he asks people like as you wrap up, he just says like I'm going to give you the mic, and very simply like what do you want people to know? What do you wish people knew?
What I wish people to know is even in these down times or scenarios like mine, there's always an upside. there's always something better to look forward to. Even in the struggle, we went through a time in our personal family where we lost 9 close family members in a year.
Wow. Wow.
Whether it's parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, 9 family members in a year. And you realize how important the little things are and your time is. It's like, yes, we're grinding. Yes, we're pushing. We're improving ourselves. But don't forget to stop, look around, and just enjoy the view a little.
Yeah, that's great.
There's a lot of good.
Yeah. Well, man, thanks for that. And for a guy that would have a lot of reasons to be bitter and would have a lot of reasons to feel bad or to be kicking yourself in the ass, good for you. Like, mad respect from me.
Thank you.
And I know that anybody that's going to listen to this will be like, first they'll be like, I'm glad that's not happening to me. But you being the one that it's happening for, you're using it as something that is happening for you, and you get to, and you're taking these lessons and you're pouring them back into the industry that delivered you a knockout punch. So I don't know anybody that would do that. So I commend you for it. You're wise beyond your years. I appreciate you taking the time to come on the Summit podcast. We've been trying to get together for a little bit here.
Thank you.
And what people don't know is that you and I talk once in a while anyway, just because we enjoy it and we're friends. And, guys, I'll get a message from Justin. Hey, you got a few minutes this week? To me, that's high praise when people do that, because it means that I'm helping them, and it means something to chat. And just like when somebody calls me coach, I feel like that's high praise, and I don't take it lightly. So I appreciate you being willing to come on, take a few minutes, and I wish you luck. I know you're going to be grinding either way. And if another business is in your future down the road, I know you'll take these lessons and apply them, and you will be a straight savage. So, but in the meantime, this company is lucky to have you, and they're going to flourish for it. So good call in bringing you in. So, all right, guys, this has been Justin Cady. Another great conversation, raw, real, and relevant here, transparent and vulnerable with Justin. And we went through some stuff. So, man, thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, take care. We'll see you. Bye-bye.